Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well and having a fabulous day. I'm here to do an intuitive card reading to see what insights, guidance, and messages the universe has to share with you. Especially if you're feeling a little bit worn down and drained from all of the chaos and turmoil and everybody having there are so many people who are just getting so amped up right now and losing their cool and freaking out and lashing out, and it's a lot. So let's take a look at what messages the universe wants to share with us. So we have let go of a fixed plan, allow for spontaneity and growth. Yeah, that's the thing. We often can get so fixated on a certain outcome. We can obsess over it. We can get really rigid and controlling and trying to force things to play out the way we want. We can get, wrapped up in the whole ego and thinking that we know best, and if it doesn't play out the way we want, then it's like the end of the world. But the universe needs space to work its magic. And, sometimes we can think that it needs to happen at a certain timing, otherwise, it's all ruined, nothing good will happen. But it's like the universe needs time and space to work. It needs to be able to, have room to breathe. But if we are so rigid and closed off, and it's like, oh, you can only do this there and everything, and then that's the only thing that's acceptable, it's like, no, that's not going to work out so well. And we need to be able to be open, to let go, to release, to allow. Because if we are closed off from, opportunities, potential possibilities, we're going to really be limiting ourselves. We're going to be holding ourselves back, hindering what's possible. And it can get very draining, if you're always obsessing and trying to control and coerce and force certain outcomes. If we could just, let go and trust the process. Not to say that we shouldn't, put an effort and we shouldn't, want the best outcome, but it's like, we don't know all the components in play. We're not all knowing. We're not all powerful. The universe knows. The divine knows. And so it's going to, help lead us on the right path. But the right path for us that will lead us to, our highest and best outcome may not look the way we think. So if we can allow for, more spontaneity, some growth, allow the synchronicities to come, not fight what always seems like detours, because what appears to be a detour could be like the greatest blessing. And so we need to stop fighting everything. That's tripping us up. It's not to say we can't have our preferences, but yeah. Miracles happen. Give the universe your clear intention. That's the thing. We can have our preferences. We can have our desired outcomes. But there needs to be space and time for the universe to work these miracles, to work its magic. And we need to be clear on what we want, but also be open, because what we want may not ultimately look the way we anticipate. How many people have this idea of a dream job that they want, and they're working so hard to get it, and then they finally get up there into that position and it's not the way they want. Maybe they have to work too many extra hours, they have unpaid overtime, maybe they can't see their friends and family and their loved ones, maybe they always are on the run and they have all this long commutes, and so they have to, always be getting fast food, and their health is deteriorating. Maybe they think they have this dream house, but it's too much upkeep or whatever it is. Sometimes what we think we want isn't what we want, and sometimes it's simpler things that actually bring us the most happiness. And sometimes, expect the unexpected. The unexpected, what you never thought you wanted, could be exactly what you need and want and bring you the most happiness. The universe can work such miracles, so we got to give it some space to do its thing, and trust it. Yeah, time to do it differently. Go beyond what you have done before. That's the thing. If you are doing the same thing time and time again, and you're just doing it over and over and over again, you can't expect different results. Like, doing the same thing repeatedly over and over and over again and expecting different results is like insanity. Like, if you're planting, let's say, tomato seeds over and over and over again, but you're expecting to get, an apple tree, it's just like, well, you planted a tomato seed. Why would you expect it to be an apple tree? How do you expect to get apples from tomatoes, So you need to mix things up. You need to try new things. You need to take chances. You need to step out of your comfort zone, because it's in the unknown, it's in the new that you can, learn, grow, and improve and get desired results. And, it could take some trial and error. It could take some time to figure things out. There could be some, slip-ups and mistakes along the way, but that doesn't mean you're failing. Allow yourself time in the process to work things out, because in order to do better, you need to know better. You need to do better and try new things, and you can't just keep falling on the same old patterns and habits. Because if you look at my family, they're notorious for doing the same things and getting so upset about it. They won't bring things up with co-workers or their co-owner, because my mom's a co-owner of the company now. She has been since 2021. But she'll just scream and rant at home about how she's so frustrated about things. Well, why don't you bring this up? She's like, well, I'm not the only owner. She's like, we'll start a conversation. But it's just she keeps doing the same things over and over again. It's well, why are you surprised that you're upset and things aren't improving? You're not addressing them. You're basically sweeping it under the rug, except not at home, because you're just getting so mad and screaming about it. It's that's not going to work. That's not going to be healthy. You need to do better and know better, and it's just a hot mess. But self-reflection is really, really important. Look inward and evaluate your actions. Embrace introspection and self-reflection for your own development. Yeah, that's the thing. So many of us are just going through the motions. We're on autopilot. We're not truly being aware of what we do. We're not reflecting. We're not being mindful. We're just, existing more than living, and going through the same patterns. And it could be the same toxic cycles that have been in our family lineage forever, and we just keep repeating it each generation. But you can break those cycles. You don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. I'm sure it can be easier said than done. It's going to take work. But if you're not aware, if you're not mindful, if you're not reflecting, if you're not accountable, how are you going to change? How are you going to learn, grow, and become your best self? You need to have awareness. You need to be willing to reflect and do the work. Yeah. Self-love. Prioritize your well-being and cultivate a deep sense of love and compassion for yourself. That's the thing. When we are reflecting and, processing our feelings and looking back on our life, we can beat ourselves up a lot, and it's oh, I should have known better, I should have done better. It's well, you didn't know then what you know now, and beating yourself up about it's not going to help. Sure, recognize where you could have done better, but use that to help propel you forward, help you move forward and do better now. You can't change the past. The past is the past. And so be gentle with yourself. Don't, overly criticize yourself, and, give yourself these harsh judgments, and to the point where you just feel like you're lousy and you're no good and nothing good will ever come from you. That's not going to help. And like in terms of like toxic cycles from, your family lineage, you weren't shown a healthy way. They didn't give you a role model or example of how to do it. You weren't taught it. You had to figure it out for yourself. And, a lot of times with families, there's like, oh, that's just the way it is. That's just how things are done. We don't rock the boat. We don't bring things up, this, that, and the other. And it's like, that was the norm for your family. That doesn't mean it was healthy or good. That was just the norm. So show yourself self-love. If the patterns and cycles are, just like very belittling and invalidating, gaslighting, like, you don't need to keep doing that. Yeah, your family did things, but you can choose differently. You can show yourself the kindness, love, and respect to say enough is enough, to say no, to disengage, to walk away, to cut ties if you need to. You don't need to keep associating with people who are harming you, who are belittling you, who are gaslighting you, who are participating in all this toxicity. You don't need that. You can prioritize your peace of mind, your well-being, and you can show yourself the kindness and respect and love that you deserve. And that's the thing. When you are, reflecting and being mindful and showing yourself self-love and respect and kindness, you are empowering yourself. Stand in your power and embrace your true potential with confidence. That's the thing. Like, so many of us are holding ourselves back. The thing is, we don't have to do the same as those who've come before us. We can live authentically and stand in our power, proclaim our power, and do what's best for us. And we can do it with confidence. And sure, we may not always know what we're doing, but we can figure it out as we go along the way and trust that the universe has our back, because it's always there, nurturing us, guiding us, supporting us, protecting us. So reclaim your power. Don't sell yourself short. Don't, hold back and play small and settle for less. You deserve better. Yeah, that's the thing. The dolphin joy. We need more joy in our lives. So many of us, if you look around, not everyone, but there's a lot of misery out there in modern society. There's so many people who are just going through the motions on autopilot. They don't actually enjoy their life. They're basically just existing, and like so many people are surviving. And it's just like, in a lot of these countries, they're supposed to be, first world, but there are so many unhappy people. There's so many people who just aren't able to find happiness, and it's because we got our priorities all mixed up, because we're pretending to be people we're not. We're, going along with what the crowd says is the best, but it's just like, we're not happy. And so if we can find more ways to bring joy in, to bring fun in, to bring lightheartedness in, to bring, delight and eagerness, and just, appreciate life more, it's going to make a world of a difference. And that feels like that's part of the thing about doing things differently, is coming from a place of joy and appreciation and fun, rather than doing things the way we've always done, always settling for mediocre and be like, well, I guess this is as good as it gets. Or, having that fixed plan of like, this is how it has to be. It's just like, miracles can and will happen if we give them a chance. So why not get in the frequency of love, of joy, of appreciation and gratitude, and have more of positivity come in, let more light in, and see how differently it can help us live our lives, how much of a difference it can make. Yeah, we do need to have balance, the sea lion balance. Like, so many of us are always, putting our well-being, our peace of mind, our health on the back burner and be like, well, I just gotta grind. I just gotta, go through do this and day in, day out, slave away at my job so I can pay the bills and this and the other. It's like, not that, doing the work isn't important, not that, making sure you have finances isn't important, but you should be alive. You shouldn't be merely existing. You should be enjoying things more and having more fun. And yeah, there are going to be some things that aren't so fun, that are unavoidable, but that doesn't mean, you should always be like, okay, well, life just isn't enjoyable. It can't be fun. That's just the way it is. Like, no, there needs to be more balance. You need to be able to rest. You need to be able to enjoy the moment and relax and have some downtime and make room for your hobbies and your passions and your interests. It can't just be all work and no play. You got to be able to balance it. Can't be all work, always going, always being productive and no time for rest. You need to have both. Yeah, they really want you to know it's so important for joy. Joy, may you pursue what lights you up. That's the thing. Life can feel so much easier and lighter and enjoyable when you do what lights up your soul inside, when you allow yourself to pursue what you enjoy. And that doesn't mean you're always doing that 24/7, like you're always like, oh, I'm only going to do my hobbies and that's it. Sometimes you can make your hobbies, your financial income, and that's cool. Sometimes it takes a while to do that. Like, there's a balance to it all. But if you never have any room for joy, think of how dull and dreary and heavy life can be if it's just always like, okay, this is just how it is, and I just gotta go through this and do this job I can't stand and be around all these people that are just constantly bringing me down and being toxic and playing in gossip and rumors and backstabbing and smear campaigns, all that. It's like, no. Surround yourself with more upliftment. Surround yourself with more joy and fun and lightheartedness and love. You got to do things differently to get different results, And then miracles can happen. Yeah, have faith. Have faith in the miracles. Trust the process. May trust steady your fears. That's the thing. Fears are false evidence appearing real. They can feel so very real. They can be so convincing. They can, talk us into not pursuing our joys, not pursuing our dreams, holding ourselves back, dimming our light, playing small, settling for less. And they can convince us to, not be open and honest and authentic because, oh, people won't like us. And it's like, not everyone will like us, sure. And not everything that we try will work out the way we hope. But we should have faith in the process. We should trust the universe because in the end it's going to work out. We don't know what the final destination will look like and all that, but in the end it's going to work out. So if we can do our best to enjoy the story as it unfolds and, realize that we're the author of our story. We have the power. We can choose how we show up in the world. We get to control that. We can choose to trust. We can choose to enjoy. We can choose to make the most out of life. Some days it'll be easier than others, and easier said than done, but yeah, powerful. We have power. We can reclaim it. We can recognize our strength instead of always giving it away. May you be as potent as the ocean. Change can start from a small ripple, but that one act can have profound reach. It can have profound impact. The ripples can go farther than you realize. You have so much power. You have so much potential. There's so much possibility and opportunity. You don't have to sell yourself short. You don't have to settle for less. You are the author of your story. You are the captain of your ship. You get to decide. So what is it that you want? What do you want to see? Yeah, snake spirit, time to heal. Like, so many of us have been putting off healing and, just going on autopilot and doing the same thing day in, day out, and, listening to what everyone else around us is saying when they don't know what they want, or not exactly that they don't know what they want, but they believe they can't have what they want and they just need to settle for less. This is just how it is, and don't fight and don't try to go for it. It's too risky. You're gonna fail. Like, it's time to heal. These people can be well-meaning, well-intentioned, but if they're not where you want to be, if they aren't, living authentically and doing their best, and they're just like, there's so many people like my family. I don't think they're trying to be necessarily negative. I think it's more that they don't know better, so they can't do better, but they just get so caught up in these toxic cycles, and there's so much unhealthy coping mechanisms, and it's just a hot mess. And if they would give themselves time to heal and process and to reflect and give self-love and to stop giving their power away, they would be living very different lives. For real. But they choose what they choose, and they don't recognize that there's love all around. They just get so caught up in the negativity and the hate and the division, and they're just so certain they know what's best, and so they're just gonna go on and tell you, and it's just like, there's a lot. And so many people, they're just like, oh, well, I'll believe it when I see it. And it's like, no, you have to believe it in order to see it. That's why you're having all this evidence backing up your claim, because you believe it to be true. So if you believe that, life is full of horrible people and all these bad things happen, and no matter what you do, you're going to fail, and you're going to have to settle for less and do jobs that you can't stand and be with people that just are horrible to you and mistreat you, like, that's what you're going to find. But if you believe in love being all around, that the universe is supporting you and guiding you and protecting you, and that you are allowed to have joy, fun, love, respect, kindness, that miracles can happen, that's what's going to come into your life. But we gotta let it in. It can be easier said than done, but we gotta let it in. Yeah. Hills, obstacles to overcome. There's so many obstacles that we have to overcome in terms of our healing, and it's usually just belief systems, honestly. And sometimes it's, standing our ground, enforcing healthy boundaries, that kind of thing, because we're not used to it. But in the end, we will overcome it. It may be a process. It may take time, because, if you look at these hills, it's not, this straightforward, easy path, like you're walking on flat ground. It's like, no, there are hurdles, but we can overcome it. We gotta trust. We gotta believe. Yeah, moon. Changes in your life. There's so much change coming in, and it's because you are realizing that you don't have to do things the same old. You can let new come in. You can change. You can let go of, those rigid, fixed, controlling plans. You can do things differently and let miracles happen. You can reclaim your power. You can trust the process and trust the universe. You can let joy in. You can have more balance. You can, just do better for yourself, and you don't have to put up with all the nonsense. You don't have to, settle for less. Door. Opportunities are waiting for you. Literally, opportunity is knocking on your door, but it's up to you to open it and walk through the doorway. The universe will bring so much to you. It brings so many opportunities, so many blessings, so many lessons, but it's up to you to choose it. You have to take the action. It can't force you. It is up to you. Yeah, that's the thing. The most difficult part of the situation is over. The storm is passing. Yes, there are obstacles. Yes, there's change. Yes, there can be turbulence. There can be chaos and complications. But at the end of it, The storm will pass, the sky will clear up, the sun will shine again, and you'll get the rainbow. It'll lead to a pot of gold. Like, all this good is coming your way. Yeah, and it's leading to you being the ruler of your life, the author of your story, the captain of your ship. It's the throne. You're in the position of authority. You are stepping up to be the king or queen of your life. You don't have to listen to all these other people and let them dictate the life you live. You get to choose. You can reclaim your power. You can rule over your life. And so just know that good things are coming. And even if it's messy, even if you're unsure of how it's going to ultimately play out, know it's going to be in your favor, that miracles are going to happen for you, that you're going to have blessings, that you're going to have so much opportunities and possibilities, and that change, even though it can be, kind of scary and uncertain, it's going to work for your good. The hardest part of the situation is going to be over. The skies are going to clear up, and there's going to be so much blessings and beauty and joy and love all around you. So I'm wishing you all a wonderful rest of your day. Please take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.